Hey guys, as you can see, I've got Ronen here, and we've got something going on, whereas we've been taking questions from you, and we've compiled a list of the 5 or 6 top questions that you guys have been asking, and it's related all to being an owner-operator. So what we've decided we're gonna do here today is we're gonna give you a perspective from, say, me being an owner-operator and being in this business, and we're gonna go through the questions, and we're gonna go through it from a management perspective, being Ronen's view, and we'll go through the same 5 questions. You'll hear what I think and what I have to say, and you'll hear about what Ronen has to think and what he has to say. So without any further ado, let's get into this and let's hit the first question.
So question number 1, when should one consider to become an owner-operator?
I've answered this question numerous times in other videos, and I stand firm on this. My opinion and my belief on this is you do a minimum of 4 to 5 years as a company driver. Some guys vary on that and they say, oh, you don't need this. I think 5 years, and my reasons for that are very simple. In 5 years, you're gonna cover probably over 500,000 miles. So that means you're gonna go through 4 or 5 winters, you're gonna go through summers, you're gonna drive just about every terrain North America has to offer, depending on which company you're with, that is. But on it, there's a pretty good chance you're gonna cover everything. And then you're gonna learn. And if you got the insight that it's maybe down the road you wanna be an owner-operator, as a company driver, start paying attention to little things. Costs of running, cost of fuel, cost of maintenance, cost of repairs. Give yourself a chance to learn these things and what this is potentially going to cost you when you make that switch and you become an owner-operator. When you've got that down, I would suggest that you don't do it until you've probably got anywhere from $18,000 to $20,000. Some guys vary on that number. I got a friend of mine, he did it with 10 grand, and you know what? He's been successful. He did okay. But myself personally, if I was a new guy or girl coming into this and I was going to make that jump, I'd want 20 grand in the bank. Take that floater, take that extra money. So in the event that you do everything you're supposed to, you get your truck, it's spec'd, you've got it set, but there's just too many unknowns. You can take 2 major repairs and I can blow 20 grand like that. It's gone. And that's money that, you'll never see. So why, as a new owner operator, would you want to take that gamble and be say 6 months into it, you're $20,000 in the hole. Now you're running in the red. And it's hard to get out of the red. I've done it, and it's hard. It really is. So I would say do your 5 years, learn as much about the business. There's the business of trucking, and then there's the trucking business. Learn a little bit about both. You don't need to know a lot about everything. And have 20 grand in the bank. And that's just the way I would do it personally.
So from my perspective, I see that one should have a substantial down payment when becoming an owner-operator. So not a $5,000 down, not $7,000. A substantial probably means around between 15 to 20% of your purchase price. So if you're buying a truck for $100,000, I would say a healthy down payment would probably be around $15,000 to $20,000. I definitely recommend for people to get into becoming an owner-operator only when you have good credit. So somebody with mediocre credit would still pass, but somebody with bad credit, I don't recommend becoming an owner-operator because the financing, the interest rates are just going to eat up a lot of your profit. I definitely agree with what Brian says that you need to have a lot of money saved up in the bank. So even after your deposit, you should have money in the bank, or at least have the reserves on your credit cards or line of credit. If you're buying your truck with your line of credit, or if you're buying your truck with the available funds on your credit cards, you're setting yourself up for failure because you will not have enough funds when something goes wrong with your truck. So like Brian said, 2 repairs can really cost you about $15,000, $20,000, and it's 100% right. I see it all the time, and guys get into jams when they don't have enough money to pay for those repairs. I do think that 5 years might be a little bit much for somebody to become a driver before taking that step. I see drivers doing it way too soon. So anybody definitely under the 2-year mark is doing it way too soon. You need to learn the ropes. But I would say a good between 2 to 3 years is a good time for you to jump into becoming an owner-operator. Question number 2. What truck make and model would you consider and why? So I'll answer this question first. Truck make and model. So I think that our channel is all about Volvos, Freightliner Cascadias, and right now we're introducing the Kenworths. If I was an owner operator getting into it, I would probably go with the Freightliner Cascadia. I'm in between the Volvos and the Cascadias, but I would go with the Cascadias. And the reason for that is because I feel like whenever we get into the shop, the downtime for the Freightliner Cascadias is less. So for us to go into the shop with any problem, I think with Volvo, the duration of the time that the truck is down is longer. Where I find the Cascadias, we get them back a lot faster. And the second reason is reliability, definitely reliable trucks. A lot of people make mention about the sensors, the EGRs, the what is the ECMs. I don't see that nearly as much in the 2020s to 2021s. We just don't see that many fault codes anymore. They were a problem in 16s, 17s, but they're just not as popular as they used to be. And then the last reason why I would go over I would pick the Freightliner over the Volvos or the Kenworths is the parts. With Volvo, we're seeing that there are no parts, or for them to get parts takes a long time. Whereas the Freightliners, the parts are available. So for me, it's all about the downtime. I don't want to be down. I want to be in and out of the shop. Whether you're a fleet owner, whether you're an owner operator, I think we all see it, eye to eye, and we want to be out of those shops as soon as possible. So that's my take. I would go with the Cascadias. Brian?
I agree with a lot of that. I just did the 90-day challenge, in which you will see him doing his happy dance in between the seats of the truck. Don't worry, he's doing it. And I get to pick the music. But because our company, or because ET primarily does run the Volvos and does run the Cascadias, most of the information we've got, or I've got, is based on those. Now, we've done some work with the PACCAR as well. I don't have enough knowledge, per se, to promote or push or say the PACCAR is going to be the great truck and it's going to do everything it says it's going to do. It's promoting over 9 miles per gallon. That's phenomenal if it's great. But dollars and cents for the cost that I'm going to pay for a new Kenny, for that T680, that's a lot of change to be asking to get 9 miles to a gallon. Whereas I can knock $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 off the price and get down into the Volvo and Freightliner range, and I can get comparable fuel mileage. Myself personally, I've done the 90 in the Freightliner, so I've had the Freightliner for 90 days. I'm a previous Volvo owner, so I can talk about both of them. I myself personally, if I had to choose between them, and again, remember, I have no skin in this game. I'm not an ownership. I don't own any of this equipment. All they've done is ask me to drive this stuff and give you my opinion on it. I would probably take the Freightliner as well, and for some of the same reasons. Parts are more readily available. I like the fact that our Freightliners come with that DD15 Detroit motor in it, which means that I'm not limited. With a Volvo, when you've got a D13, if I'm out in Missouri and that thing breaks, I have to go to Volvo. With that DD15, with that Detroit, everybody works on Detroit. My options are way more for repairs, and again, like Ronen said, for downtime. If I don't have to wait and there's not a massive lineup at the Volvo dealership, I can go to Detroit. I can go to Freightliner. I can go to Peterbilt. I can go to Kenworth. I can go anywhere the service is a Detroit. Just because it's a Freightliner. So for that is a great bonus in my eyes. I also know firsthand that the Volvos are more expensive to fix. Parts for Volvos are more. They're the D13 motor. Just parts alone on those are probably, I would say, about 15% more for the same parts. Like I'll just use this analogy. You've got a screw, just a little teeny screw. It says Detroit on it. That screw is $2.95. That same screw over here that says Volvo on it is $13.65. Same screw. But, so do I want to take reliability from a D13 motor? Yes. Are they reliable? Somewhat. We've noticed over the last few years that there's still, the downtime on the Volvos is more, and it's costing us a little bit more as owner operators than, say, the Detroits are. Reliability of the Detroits have come way up in the last few years. This 90-day challenge I did, I ran this DD15 from July 7th or July 4th to October 4th. I had zero issues, no check engine lights, no emissions problems. The only things we ever had to do with it is we had to do an oil change on it, which is the price you pay for doing business. You got to do those anyway. And we cracked a windshield. So, and that's, again, that has nothing to do with the motor. I was pleased with this. So my choice personally, yes, I would take the Freightliner with the DD15 motor in it. And again, if I'm buying a brand new, I think a brand new Volvo and a brand new Cascadia, I think the Cascadia still comes in a couple $1,000 cheaper than the new Volvos does. So you want to weigh it out for reliability and cost and fuel. It's a tight race, but I think I would take the Cascadia as well. So he just tells me that we've got 21% of you that are subscribed. That means 79% of you are taking a free ride. Come on, that little red button, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, hit the notification so the next time one of my videos comes up, you'll be alerted and you'll know it's there. Talk to you later.